Okay, and then working our way to page 132. The heading says decimal in money situations continued, and we have a new situation that we're going to learn and solve. All right, read along with me. It says a bead factory spends 65 cents to make each crystal bead. The steps below show how Antonio finds the total amount the factory spends to make 222 crystal beads. Okay, so 222 crystal beads, and spending at 65 cents to make one crystal bead each, which means we are going to be multiplying, and the multiplication sentence is set up for you on the side. 65 cents times 222. And just previewing the table, we have 4 steps that they're going to have us in order to solve this multiplication sentence. And I'm already previewing the steps over here. I see 2 times 65 cents, 20 times 65 cents, and 200 times 65 cents. This looks very similar to our place value rows method that we have been practicing quite a bit. So to get a better visual, what I would like you to do, there's a little bit of room up here at the top of your page. What I'd like you to do, let's model these multiplication sentences with a quick place value row diagram. And it doesn't have to be big because we won't necessarily be solving in it, but again, it's just going to be a good visual. So go ahead and draw out a rectangle just like I did. We're using the factor 65 cents 3 different times. That tells me that this is going to be the factor at the top. So 65 cents, and that's in dollar form. And then on the side, we have 2 ones, 20, and then 200. How they got 220 and 200? Well, the factor 222, they broke it up into its place value section. So we have 200. We always started with the largest one, 20, and 2 to make up 222. And that's going to give us 3 partial products, 1, 2, 3, that we're going to be solving within our text. All right, so they're saying step number 1, let's multiply the number in the ones place. The number in the ones place is 2 times 65 cents. That would be for this small rectangle down here, top factor times the side. 2 times 65 cents, and that's written in dollar form. Remember, what we were doing in the previous forms is we were just looking at as 65 like in a cent symbol or just writing out cents. So 65 cents times 2 is what we're going to be solving. Let's solve it using the shortcut way. So get your whiteboards ready. And on your whiteboards, let's set this up correctly. 65 on top, 2 in the ones place for our second factor. Go ahead and solve. What is 65 times 2? 5 times 2 is 10. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13 to give us 130 cents. Okay, and we're gonna write it not in like cent form, in dollar form. And again, what we were practicing is that our last digit goes in the hundreds place value. So let's use our place value chart to help us, and then we can transfer it into our book. 130, starting with our 0 in the hundreds place. Go ahead and add it into your place value chart. Can you do it? The 3 goes in the tenths, and the 1 goes in the ones. $1.30 is the same as 130 cents. Do you have that? Okay, keep that in your place value chart, and let's also transfer it into our book. 2 times 65 cents gives us $1.30 or 130 cents. Step number 2, multiply the number in the tens place. So we're multiplying now 20 times 65 cents. And then in parentheses, they have that 2 tens is equal to 20. And that $1.30 or 1 30 hundredths shifts one place to the left. And this is what we have learned in previous lessons. What we're doing, we have the same factor here, 65 cents. And then what I noticed about 2 and 20, well, 2 is 10 times less than 20. Or in other words, 20 is 10 times as much as 2. So how do we go from 2 to 20? We multiply by 10. And so that tells us that if we want to go from $1.30 to changing our factor from 2 to 20, all we have to do is make this number 10 times as big. So we don't have to set this up. I mean, we could do 65 cents times 20. That's one way of doing it, but another way of doing it, and they're giving us a big hint, we're shifting one place to the left. So let's do it. Let's see our place value chart, $1.30. We're going to make this 10 times as big, and we're going to shift each digit one place value to the left. So let's start with our ones. We're going to go move over one place value. The 1 is going to go from the ones to the tens, and let's put that into the second row. The 3 in the tens place, or 3 dimes, 10 times as much becomes 3 ones, or 3 $1 bills. And the 0 follows. And again, since we're talking about dollar form, we want to fill in and make sure that we have digits all the way to the hundreds. So since there's no value there, we can put a 0. $1.30 times 10 is $13. And if we were to solve 65 times 20, we would get the same answer. 130 plus 10 is 1,300 cents, and then put into our place value chart is $13. Let's put that into money form into our book. $13.00, $13, and then keep that into your place value chart. We have one more step to do. Multiply by the number, step number 3, multiply the number in the hundreds place. We're going now to 200 times 65 cents. And here's their hint down here. 200 equals 200, or 200s equals 200. $1.30 shifts 2 place values to the left. So if we're going from 2 to 200, that's times 100. And since we already have our answer here, going from $1.30 to 100 times as much, well, all we have to do is we can use our place value chart and shift these digits 2 place values to the left. And again, why the left? We're getting larger. The ones in the ones place value, or the 1 in the one place value, is going to move 2 place values now over to the hundreds. So in the third row, put a 1 in the hundreds place value. The tenths, again, 3 in the tenths is going to move 2 place values to the tens, followed by the 0. And again, just to make it all even, we don't have any other values, so we're going to add in our zeros into the hundreds place value. And we get another sum partial product here of $130. $1.30 times 100 is 130. Or if we were to solve, again, vertically using those tricks with the zeros, 200 times 65 cents would have gotten us 13,000 cents, which in dollar form is $130. Please put that into your book, 130, and keep that in your place value chart, because our very last step, step number 4, we're going to add the partial products. Okay, so $1.30 plus $13 plus $130 will give us how much does it cost to make 222 crystal beads at 65 cents per crystal bead. Go ahead and try it. It's all set up for you in your place value chart. It should be hopefully easy. Try it. Did you get $144.30? Great job. Go ahead and add that into your book. $144.30. And that is our product for 65 cents times 222. Let's go ahead and add it up here at the top, just so we get a good visual for the next few questions. 65 cents times 222 is equal to $144.30. All right, now answering problem number 4. All right, read along with me. Number 4 says, how many decimal places are there in the decimal factor 65 cents or 65 hundredths? Again, decimal places, we're counting how many place values there are to the right of the decimal. 1, 2. So there's 2 decimal places for 65 cents. How many decimal places are there in the answer? Well, our answer was $144.30. Let's count how many decimal place values there are in our answer. 1, 2. 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places. Let's add that into our answer. 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places in our factor, 2 decimal places in the answer. All right, do you have that for number 4? And then number 5 says, describe the relationship between the number of decimal places you have seen in a decimal product and the number of decimal places in its decimal factor. So that is a lot of multiplication, academic vocabulary. So let me break it down for you. We know that a factor times a factor gives us what? A product. And with all 3 of these money situations, we have been multiplying a number times a number in which we're dealing with money. So one of these factors has always included decimal place values. And what we've been working with specifically for money point of view is we've been working with one factor having 2 decimal places. So one of the factors has always had 2 decimal places for these money problems, and then we're multiplying it by a whole number for each of these situations. And we have been seeing that our answers or our products always has how many decimal places in the number. Especially this one on my screen. Yep, the product has always had 2 decimal places. This is asking, describe the relationship between the number of places you have seen and the number of decimal. And sorry, let me read that one more time. Describe the relationship between the number of decimal places you have seen in a decimal product and the number of decimal places in its decimal factor. We have seen the number of decimal places in the factors should be the number of decimal places in our answers or our products. So for example, for one of the factors having 2, our product has 2. And we will see as we continue with like non-money situations that this is going to hold true. The rule is the number of decimal places in the factors will always be the number of decimal places in our product. So let me put that into word form for you for number 5. Go ahead and write this rule with me. The number of decimal places in the product is the same as the number of decimal places in the decimal factor. Please have that rule written nice and clear for number 5 because we're going to refer back to it quite a bit as we begin to multiply with decimal numbers. We're going to always follow this rule. The number of decimal places in the factors has to be the number of decimal places in the product. Super important, so important that we are going to put a star next to number 5. And for part 2 of this lesson, we're going to come back to it and refer back to it quite a bit as we get more practice in with these situations and with this multiplication topic. Great. Thank you for following along.